Hey everyone, this is Alan from Darkscape Studios. I've got another video about Keep It Lit that I'd like to share with you today. Some new features in our most recent release. This release should be dated August 28th, 2025. So I'm going to go in here to some campaigns that I've got going here, and I'm going to go to this one called World Map Testing. The new features we have allow you to differentiate between dungeon maps and world maps. So dungeon maps are kind of your traditional battle maps. These are the ones where we have line of sight and lighting effects, torches and lanterns, things like that. Things you're going to use for sort of combat-oriented scenes. The world maps are a little different in that the way they don't have lighting. These are intended to be sort of well, world maps, larger scale maps. So I'm going to open up this one called Sword Coast here. I want to go into this one. Those of you familiar with the Forgotten Realms will recognize this probably. Um, but I'm going to scroll in here and let me go ahead and turn on the preview window and get that over here on the other side so you can kind of get an idea of what the players might see here. Alt Enter to maximize that, of course. So I have some tokens here. You can see this little token here that shows up on the DM's map um, does not show up on the player map at all. But if you imagine your characters, say, moving north on this road from Daggerford up to Waterdeep, and they're about to enter Waterdeep, you might have that part of your session, part of your narrative, and then you want to go into Waterdeep. So I'm going to double click this, and you can see the scene fades, and now we have a map of Waterdeep. This is also a world map as opposed to a dungeon map. As you can see, there's none of the regular tokens on the map. There are no lighting effects, and it's far simpler to see this now. And I can pan around this preview window control over here from the DM's view if I want to do that, as I could with the dungeon maps. We've preserved that for the world maps. But now you can sort of change your scale, and you can sort of see, okay, we've got these buildings here. You might want to use a different map, maybe that doesn't have all the numbers if you don't want that to show. But this is just an example of how one might change scale and kind of zoom in from sort of like a view of the portion of the continent to a view of a particular city. So if I double click this icon, this map link, I can go back to this view here. I can also right click on this, and I'm going to say edit map link. And so now we have this new dialog that shows up that allows you to say where the link goes from. So you can kind of imagine a dotted line that goes from Waterdeep to this gate here this gate here in Waterdeep to this location on the larger Forgotten Realms map. So there's a linkage that occurs between these two. We can put a label on them. So on this one, I have the label show up as Waterdeep because I want to make sure that I remember this. That's where this is going to take me. And on this one, the label says Sword Coast as I'm bouncing back to that scale. I can continue nesting world maps as much as I'd like. I can even make world maps have map links into dungeon maps and vice versa. So I'm going to close this for a second. Let's go into Waterdeep again. So we transition to Waterdeep. Now we're going to pan around on the Waterdeep map. The players, of course, they can either control it by controlling the window directly or this purple box here. I'm going to move this now all the way up here to the top of this kind of mountainous area, Mount Waterdeep here. We'll assume our players have now scaled this and maybe there's some place to explore. So I have a link here to dungeon level 1. So now I'm going to click on that. And now we should go. Okay, my player characters are not selected yet. They're still sort of transparent. They have not been enabled, so I'm going to enable them now. I'll turn them all on. Now I'm going to need to add a light source here because I have no light source on the map. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now this should have probably been set up before I even started this video, but let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a torch. I'm going to grab a torch icon. I'm going to throw that down here on the map. Okay, and then I'm going to add light to it. So I'm going to add entity, light, turn the light on, attach it to the torch. Now it's part of the torch. Now I'm going to give it to, I don't want to give it to the drow here. I'm going to give it to this knight. Okay, so there we go. So now he has a torch and he can see the environment as we normally would in a battle map. Let's say this is at night. Let's say they've gone to this dungeon, maybe they've done some exploration, and then we're going to double click this map link again, and we'll go back out to the Waterdeep scale, and we can see the dungeon that they just emerged from. Now you can keep track of where they've moved within the city of Waterdeep. Maybe they've moved around from there. Something else we can do, go back into this map again. Within the map, within a dungeon map, you can create links that go to other locations as well. Now here is a link which I call the teleporter. So this would be like outside of the dungeon. So let's, I don't know, maybe you've got some sort of idea for how you would want to do this. Scroll this guy over here. Let's move the preview window to here, kind of follow him with the player view. We get to here, and who knows, maybe there's some kind of magical effect that teleports people. So I'm going to double click this, and you can see they disappear, and the whole party appears inside the dungeon now to this associated map link. They don't see this, of course. This is now the note that I put on this map link is outside the dungeon. If I double click this, they go back out to that teleporter location. So we can just bounce back and forth. So we now illustrating that we can go from a dungeon map location to another location, back and forth. Those are linked together. This one's linked to the global map. Maybe we have dungeon level 2. So I'm going to, maybe the party's explored this whole area and they get to dungeon level 2. We'll go there, and lo and behold, we're on another dungeon level. So you can really use this, is really intended to be able to traverse through a multi-level dungeon, like a mega dungeon. You might have multiple levels to it, and you can create these map links that go from one level to the next. So we want to go back to level 1. We go here. We pop back up here into level 1, and I can move that around as well, obviously. But my characters say they explore here more in level 1, then they decide to go back down to level 2. Here we go. So that's the intent of how those work. Now I can do, I'm going to go back up to level 1, and I'm going to put in a link to another location. So let's see, pick a spot here that looks good. Um, well, I'm not sure. Let's just say we'll create a map link over here that goes to dungeon level 2 as well. Maybe there's a secret hatch in the floor or something. So what I want to do is create a map link, and it will ask me where I want to do it. Now it puts this map link in the center of 2 copies of the same map, but I'm going to go instead, I want to go to dungeon level 2, and I'm going to have it show up in here, maybe up on this raised platform. This is going to say dungeon level 1. This is going to say dungeon level 2, and I'll say shrine. Okay, and when I've set that up, I go down here and click Save New Map Link. So now that's saved. So if my party now moves over here, let's say they're on this location here. I haven't drawn any map walls in this dungeon. I haven't taken the time to completely map it out, but I just, for the purpose of the video, I think it'll work just fine. So that was not where I created this new map link. Let's see, where did I put that? Oh yeah, I put it down here. So down here. I left it in the middle of the map. Well, maybe I don't want it there. I want to move this map link. I really wanted it to be up here. So I'll put that into the map link there. So now my party comes up here. They find this secret door, this trap door, and we're going to go to dungeon level 2. And there we go. Now we're in the shrine. So from the shrine, they can explore around, do whatever they're going to do. Eventually, maybe they want to crawl back up through this secret door, back to level 1, and up they go, back to here. So that makes transitions to other maps just really, really convenient for you. You can zoom out to city scales or to continental scale, or bounce around within different levels of the dungeons. Maybe you've got a wizard's tower and you want to create a link from each level of the tower to the next level in the tower, and then you can very easily transition the whole party from one level to the next level to the next level of the tower. So that's the latest feature that we just added. This release took us quite a while. I think if you read some of the release notes, you will see a bit of an explanation, and I'll just kind of reiterate that here. This change to implement dungeon maps and world maps and kind of separate them and how they behave and everything required quite a bit of refactoring. We're really trying to get ourselves set up in a position where we can do different kinds of world maps. We want to do hex crawl maps here in the pretty near term, short term from now, but within I would say within the next month or two. So we're looking to try to pull that together, and so we kind of needed to build some infrastructure to be able to do that. So this new release allows us to do that much more easily. And so there was a lot of testing that was required. We also had one of our developers had some illnesses going on, so that kind of slows us down a little bit as well. But we're going to try to increase our release rate now. And the next thing we are working on is Mac OS support for Keep It Lit. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please hit us up on Discord. Love to talk to you and hear your suggestions and thoughts and critiques of Keep It Lit. Take care.